But Mike, I don't know if you're aware, there was a game that released this very week, that we've been talking about for a while on the main podcast, but I think it's worth mentioning. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which unfortunately Mike's camera is blocking the name, so you can't really see it. But and it's just because no, you're good. You can't. It's the
Just
scene,
joking.
dude. It's OBS, dude. But yeah, dude, we've been talking about this game for a while. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the main show, but I think it was worth it just kind of going over and seeing because to a pleasant surprise. I mean, I don't know, maybe not necessarily a pleasant surprise, but or maybe not necessarily a surprise, but I think the reviews have been pretty good. We've been averaging a solid 9 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 for most outlets, and
Yeah.
The Metacritic is currently a generally favorable 88 for PC. And across all the platforms, you have 54 reviews from PC, 48 from PS5, 10 from Xbox Series X. And it's all across the board 88. There's no like difference between them all. It's all the same. And so it's good to see consistency in that front. But it's a game that was, I think, a long time coming from Warhorse, the studio that made it. And it's been receiving amazing reviews. The overall consensus I've been seeing from most reviews is that it's essentially everything the first game wanted to be, kind of thing. It's very much like everyone's hopping in. People that love the first game are absolutely gonna love this game. And also what I pieced together too, which is always something when I see success, like a successful sequel of some sort. The first question I always have, especially if I'm looking to play that game, is do I have to play the first game? Is it a requirement for me to play the first
It's a
game?
good question.
I always wondered that. And from my research, it is not a requirement to play the first game because, from my understanding, I have not played the game, but from my understanding, they actually sum up essentially the first game before you actually dive into the second one. So it's essentially summed up pretty quickly. So yeah, apparently you don't have to play the first game. That being said, the first game did end on a cliffhanger from my research. I didn't obviously like see any of the plot, but apparently it ended on a cliffhanger. First game came out in 2018. We're talking, 6, 7 years ago at this point. We're getting the sequel. But from what I've seen, and I will say graphically, game looks stellar. You may not be able to see from the video that plays on Metacritic on
It
the
looks
page here on the
clean.
video, but dude, yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing from gameplay wise, graphically, it just looks really, really good. I think, and from what I've heard, everything, like I said before, everything about it stepped up. I think the options, the dialogue options, the way they kind of present the dialogue, the way characters behave, and just the world itself just looks absolutely gorgeous. So it's good to see all that. And from what I've heard, it's like there's a lot of people, especially a lot of I was particular about finding people that were RPG focused and in the reviews and people that really love RPGs. And pretty much every RPG enthusiast I've seen is like, you should definitely check out this game at least because it's like one of those things where they're just like, this is a very well done RPG. It's the only concern I kind of have is that from what I'm seeing, I won't say there's a lot of this game is great, but however, there's a huge caveat. I feel like pretty much every reviewer mentions at some point that I've watched or read, they said it is a very good game. However, there can be some like tedium in it in some of the systems because it is kind of as realistic as a medieval RPG can get in terms of like you have to it's like at the start of the game you completely suck at combat because you haven't leveled up the skill, and so the combat may not be as fun. So you have to practice sword combat specifically, or if you want to like learn how to use a crossbow, you have
That
to
makes
be
sense.
particular
Yeah.
about practicing with a crossbow. There's a lot of stuff like that where it can get kind of tedious. You have to make sure that, and part of the immersion in this game, people have been saying the game is very immersive. From what I've seen too, it's like you have to be very particular about making sure you maintain cleanliness and you actually live amongst, like you actually stay amongst the living in terms of, making sure like if you murder somebody, you have blood all over you, might want to wash that off. Or if like you're dirty, I want to wash up before you go to the market and try and buy something because the shopkeep and all those people are going to be judgmental and may even affect some of the pricing that they give you on some items because you look the way you do. So it's very particular in that way. But just kind of going through some of these, a lot of hundreds, 10 out of 10s. From what I'm seeing, there's, I think, so I've seen a couple, no negative reviews. What I've seen,
That's good.
no, it's all either mixed or positive, mostly positive. But all the mixed reviews I'm seeing, kind of just scrolling past all the
They're
90s
all
and the
90s.
hundreds and seeing the 80s. There's a lot of green. You start getting to the yellow, right? The 70s, the 60s, 50s. There's a lot of that. But pretty much the only so I see like there's in this case there's like four I see. And pretty much just reading through all those, it pretty much was the sentiment of, look, it's a pretty good game. However, it could be most of the reviews are like Eurogamer. It's a hard and maddening slug at times, and then GameStop talks about it's a game that's unabashedly demands you meet to its level, which I find somewhat admirable. I just constantly found it to be a miserable slog to engage with. So like it's kind of like a common theme of just like, yeah, there's a lot of tedious parts in this game. So, and it's just the overall sentiment. So I don't know. This is a game that I've told you, Mike. I think I eventually want to check out. Um, just after seeing all these reviews, seeing all these hundreds, these tens, these 90s, I
Yeah,
think it
you
just
want to
goes
check it
without
out?
saying. I'm just like, this is an RPG I'm gonna have to put on the list, dude. I'll have to check it out at some point.
I think it's worth it because I've seen a whole bunch of like Kingdom Come Deliverance, Kingdom Come games on YouTube and TikTok, like people playing these games, like role playing, and then I forgot what it's called. It might be GameSprout, I think, YouTube channel, where they grab like all these different clips throughout all of gaming where people have just made stuff. And it's like gamers are awesome, and then I've always seen Kingdom Come Deliverance. Um, yeah, like
yeah,
clips and stuff. It's so funny. But hey, if you're cool with this, I'll share a couple of things from Tech Radar on the game.
go
Did
for it.
Tech Radar give a rating by chance?
I not
Might
sure. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna.
might be worth checking out. Anyways, there is a section where he basically gives. Let me give a shout out first. Deshiel, possibly Wood over here at Tech Radar. And there's this one section in the article they put together. The name of the article, it's awesome, is I had my shoes stolen by virtual drunks in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and it might already be my game of the year. It's like that's the level of immersion we're talking about here. So if I can go to this one section that I felt like was worth reading to people. So a couple of things. Play it if that's the name of the category. Play it if you love immersive RPGs. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 succeeds at fully immersing you in a medieval world and beautiful environments and an impressive set of systems that respond realistically to your actions. And if you're wondering what medieval world, it's actually in Czechia. Czechia? Czechia. Czechia, I think.
Cha-cha.
Um, yeah, sorry, I can't really pronounce that word. But anyways, the other thing you said, play the game if you want to see where the story of the first game goes. Without spoiling too much, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 provides a satisfying conclusion to the plot of the first game. It even includes plenty of recaps for those who haven't experienced it before. And then play it if you want to master, if you want to, yeah, want to master a unique combat system. Your arsenal is incredibly varied in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, with plenty of authentic medieval weapons to try out. Combat isn't always easy, but is very rewarding if you put in the time to learn how it works. Here is the other two categories that I felt were pretty cool to mention. Yeah, you got it on the screen. Don't play don't play it if you lack the patience. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not a game that can be rushed. If you're looking for an RPG that you can blaze through, you're better off sticking to something like Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. So the accessibility is the other one too. Sadly, there is no dedicated accessibility menu, which kind of stinks for me. Uh, Hopefully they got colorblind settings. I kind of
I was about
assume
to
you
say,
can.
yeah. Hope so.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to put in a game. If not, I'll just use a monitor settings, you know?
Okay, all right.
On a console, you can edit the control scheme somewhat, inverting the vertical and horizontal axis and altering look sensitivity. Subtitles are present throughout the game by default and have a range of display options, including text size and high contrast color settings. So,
I mean, it's
yeah.
cool. I mean, that's for dialogue. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I figure like that was something kind of worth mentioning. Like you said, you basically said a whole long way to say like you do need patience for the game. You
Yeah.
need to like it's no joke. You gotta be ready to grind it out.
Yeah. Which I feel like if I know knowing that now beforehand, I might enjoy the game. Then I wouldn't. I'll go in. I won't go in with the expectation like I'm just gonna run through it.
Yeah,
Thing.
if you went with the expectation that you're just gonna roll through it, you're gonna get cooked.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna have a good time. You got to go in with the mentality of like, okay, this is gonna be a good game. I'm just gonna play it out. I remember there was a game not too long ago on my list. I was like, oh, I got like a good week off. Like I have some time to do something. I was trying to rush it through, but it wasn't a game that you could rush through. And ended up not liking the game as much as I probably should have,
Yeah.
which is kind of lame. It might have been Firewatch. Might have been.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude. Tech Radar's verdict though, 5 stars. 100.
Ain't bad. Ain't bad.
Yeah, dude. It's
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean the first sentence, dude. Kingdom Come Delivers 2, to put it simply, is a masterpiece and easily one of the best role playing games of the last decade. Which is like I've been hearing stuff like that from a lot of reviewers. It's like, whoa. I think I even heard someone argue greatest RPG of all time in their eyes, which I'm like, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, a lot of hype around this game. And I know, yeah, another thing that's worth mentioning too. I heard from a lot of reviewers, like kind of just watching their videos, and a lot of them said they actually got their review codes a whole month early before the game came out. That's how like sure Warhorse was about this game and how confident they were about it, which is crazy. Because normally it's like you get a review code, it's like a week or two out.
Yeah,
But like,
it's true. Yeah.
like
They usually are like working to the wire to get it done.
yeah. But this one they're like a whole month before the game came out. Like y'all have fun.
That shows confidence. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
also like, hey, give us feedback so we can correct stuff.
yeah.
You know?
But also like it's a long game, so you may need that time. Oh man. But yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, overall, man, sounds like a pretty solid RPG. Something I'm definitely gonna check out at some point. To get immersed in a medieval world, really soak in the maybe craft some potions, maybe be a hunter. I don't know. Apparently, you could pick like you could essentially like hone in on specific skills because you really, I don't know if you'd at least from what I've heard, you may not necessarily have time to like do a jack of all trades kind of thing. So it's kind of you probably just focus on one thing, especially for like making money and whatnot.
Well, if it's realistic, it probably has to do with the choice of weapon you have. Because there's only so many ways you can use a weapon.
Yeah.
Like you have to use it based on its design. The way you use like a medieval hammer is going to be way different than when you use like a medieval hatchet or what's another like a broadsword and stuff like that, bow and arrow. So if you have a jack of all trades, it's like, bro, that's insane. Like
Yeah.
that'd be crazy. You're a heck of a warrior.
Yeah. When gamers gave the first sentence, they said, "Wow, just wow." That was the feeling when I hit the credits. When I let the credits roll after just 150 hours. I was like, "Jeez, man, people loving it." Yeah, getting triumphant sequel. Yeah, it says, but even if you feel like a touch frustrated by the busy work, I would argue players to at least finish the first map of the game. If you get to this point and still find yourself keen to play, I'm happy to say that the game truly blossoms in the second half. Interesting kind of perspective. The best quest, narrative moments, and funniest moments, and the best side characters can be found here. The second half. There's one Polish guy who I would guarantee will steal the hearts of thousands. Please hang in there. This is gold. There is gold buried in this game. It's not even that hard to prospect out. And this is VG20. Yeah, so VG2040 247 gave that review, and they give it 100.
They have moments where they're brutal with the reviews too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That
so,
what I like most about that is you can tell maybe they wrote that with like they wanted to quit at one point, but they're like, I'll just keep going through, and then the
yeah,
game
that's
just
what's up.
started to win them over.
Which
That's the way that like reviews written to me.
yeah, which surprises me because they gave it 100. It's like
Yeah,
it's
right.
like at first maybe they weren't all in. I saw Destructoid said, which I was talking about earlier, which I was joking about. I think before we started, this year just started, and it's too early to be talking about game of the year. But for me, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is already at very least a contender. That's what I'm hearing, Mike. That's what I'm hearing around the.
Dude, I need to go through and just play all the game of the years.
Yeah, that's true. I've played a few of the game of the years, but I mean, Witcher 3 is one of them I'm playing right now. So
Yeah.
that was game
Yeah,
of the
that's
year
a
winner.
good one though. That's like one of the best ever game of the years, honestly.
Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition I think was also game of the year. It's another kind of
Yeah.
fantasy game. So I don't know. Yeah, there's tons of game of the years I haven't played. Like God of War, that was game of the year.
Yeah. God of the Years. Yeah, God of War is really
It
good.
Takes Two,
I'm saying
one of
God
my
of the Year.
favorite. Oh man, we're
It Takes
almost
Two is amazing. I know a lot of people that like
Almost.
hated that for some reason, but I don't think maybe they just haven't been in a relationship where you're fighting because that stuff, man, ooh, it hits.
Go on, man. Go a month and a half. Get that split fiction. I'm so ready.
Oh yeah, I can't. Really excited for that. Honestly, very very cool. Bring games back, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good story to have, man, because makes me optimistic for more and more games that are coming out.
Yeah, it's exciting to be at a time where it's still like you still get these solid games are coming out seemingly out of
Yeah.
nowhere. And it's I don't know, it's just the story of Warhorse 2 and how their team grew over the past like they actually like it was like the first game was I believe the first game was based on like Kickstarter. They had a small team, but now they actually had
Mhm.
money and funds to actually like build a full team and actually try to make what they wanted to. And it seems like
Yep.
they did. So gotta give them props.
It's very true. It's very very true. It's just good to see overall. Like a lot of people, for whatever reason, they get stuck on whatever game they're playing, and they're like, "Oh, there are no other good games out. It's terrible. We don't have any options." And then games like this come out, and it might not be what you're used to playing, but if it's a good game, it's a good game. Like, give it a shot, man.
It's a new
There are
experience.
genres where I'm locked in. Like me right now, with Doom Dark Age is coming out. That's my game. You know,
It's the
you're not gonna be
one.
able to talk to me when that comes out. But there are other games where I
Right.
got super excited, and I wish I had like stuck with it. So it could happen to anybody, you know.
Yeah, for sure, dude. But should we end on kind of a depressing note?
Ooh, yeah.